The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. I hope you're doing great. I'm doing amazing. You know why? Because I am going to Florida. That's right. I am headed down to Fort Lauderdale for not spring break, but I'm going there anyway. What takes Perch to Fort Lauderdale? Nightmares. That's what. I mean, if you're going down there to drink on the beach, you're having a good time. But if you're going down there not for that, you're pretty much going down there for work or a convention of some kind. And I'm not going to a convention, so I'm not having a good time. Anyway, but what the hell? We're gonna have a good spring break with Perch. Perch gone wild? No, nobody wants that image. Anyway, let's go to the mail. It says fun chat with Jim Shooter at a show. Jim Shooter is a hell of a good chat. It says, hey Perch, I got a chance to talk with Jim Shooter at a smaller convention in Roanoke, Virginia. It allowed for some fun. A lot of smaller conventions, by the way, are so much better. You actually get a chance to talk to people. There's just it's way better. The big conventions, I mean, the entire reason it exists is to, try and draw normies into some kind of pop culture bullshit, and the hope that you get to meet some kind of celebrity from Cobra Kai. That's all you got. That's all that's going on there. Anyway, that's what it is. So it says, it allowed for some fun conversations about how much my dad and I loved comics. The subject of paying writers came up because I am working on a comic. I told him what we were paying our artists and writers, and he said that was fair. He followed up that we are most likely paying our team more than the big two. I assume he means the less famous artists and writers. Yeah, probably. He said that right now writers have to fight for $45 a page and may not see any royalty gains. Jim was great to talk with when it comes to sharing comic stories. Okay, let me pause there for a second. It is true that I know a couple of people at the big two are getting $45 a page as a writer, but that's not the norm. That's usually kind of very new people or anthology rates. A lot of people seem to be crammed down into the $60 to $70 a page for a comic. And there's a lot of people that are hovering in those rates, who are new, but not completely new. And people who are, let's say the company, let me put it this way. The company is heavily promoting these people as kind of the best new thing. And oh my God, superstar writer, etc. But they're paying them $60, $65 a page. So that is going on. That's too little. I mean, bluntly. I mean, if you do the math out, like, look, if you write a 22-page comic book, all right, and you got $60 a page, okay, well, easy math there, okay, 10 pages equals 600, 20 pages equals 1,200, and then you got another 120 there for 22 pages, all right, so you're basically at $1,320 for a comic. That's not a lot of money. You write one of those, 1,300, after taxes and everything, you're not affording rent. You have to get more comics, more work. That's not enough money. And keep in mind, again, you look at the solicitations, writers aren't getting this guaranteed like 12 months of job. To put it another way, yeah, you would do off. You do. I was at don't ask me why, because this is truly the Arby's of Chinese food. But I was at the Panda Express. That's not fair. The Panda Express has worked hard to try and make itself less shitty. Still isn't good. But they had to sign up because they're having a lot of trouble getting people to fast food work. And it's like, hey, if you want to be a manager at the Panda Express, you can make $107,000 a year. Yeah. A manager at the Panda Express is making $107,000. That's way more than most people are going to make in comics. A person who's working the line at the Panda Express was listed at $58,000 a year. $58,000. That is substantially more than what a lot of editors are making, and what a lot of these writers are making at these rates. So I just want to point out by comparison, there's tons of jobs out there, but you could be working at the Panda Express, serving that shit and making more. Plus, you're getting health benefits, dental. Like, I don't know. write New Mutants Lethal Legion or Panda Express. I'd take the Panda Express. I'm just saying. You at least get some benefits. The royalty thing is one of those scams that I think I don't know that too many people are buying into that anymore. You can get a royalty for sure, but you're not going to make much money off that. I mean, enough rates have been shared around. I'm part of a group where a bunch of writers started just like the damn burst. They just start sharing their royalty checks, like photos of their checks. And it's piss money in a lot of cases. It's not good. So now definitely if you're a superstar artist, you're getting a lot more than that. There's people who, there's a couple of writers who are getting $1,000 a page once upon a time. Those rates have come down a little bit, but still, you do have writers that are like super big names and they get, advances and they get the royalties. And because they're big names, they're being put on big books, which means they're going to get collections made. All these things kind of start to combine. But overall, there's not that many big name writers. So your odds are, sitting down there sub Panda Express. Anyway, the mail continues, says, my question is, what is the attraction to work for the big two when the money is so terrible? It makes the crowdfunding approach seem like the best route, even though the audience is much smaller. I work in medicine and I'm self-funding the comic that I'm working on. Best, hope you're well. Well, thank you. Well, first of all, the crowdfunding route, look, I mean, it goes without saying it. And for a while, I remember when I said this like 2 years ago, and a bunch of the bigger name crowdfunders like just lost their shit in their live streams, like what a dickhead I was. But I think now people wouldn't do that because, I mean, the obvious truth is out there. Not everybody strikes it rich with crowdfunding. There's no guarantee you're going to get rich. If you go back to like 2020, you had a bunch of people saying basically if you weren't doing crowdfunding, you were a sucker and the only money was being made in crowdfunding. Well, people have lost money in crowdfunding too. Plenty of people have lost money in crowdfunding. It is not, it's not all or nothing. It's actually, there's a decent chance you lose your ass. There's, one of the things, and I don't know why this is so tough for people to understand, and then we will get back to the question is, when you raise money, okay, if you are putting out a book, a crowdfunded book, and you raise $20,000, you did not just make $20,000 in profit. You have to pay for your book to be printed and shipped. I was talking to somebody the other day and like, that's pure profit. No, it is not pure profit. It's the opposite of pure profit. You've got to pay for the thing you sold. In a lot of cases, people do this and they do not understand printing costs or shipping costs or anything else, and they lose money just getting it out. That has happened many, many times. And if you start bundling in those things that are oddball sizes, like posters and t-shirts and artist editions and all that kind of shit, it's good stuff, but all that stuff becomes something you have to produce and ship. And generally, if you're, some guy was selling posters and he had like 30 orders for posters. Well, that's not a lot of posters. It's not. So you're going to be paying higher rates because you're running a small batch of these posters. And then you got to ship them in a tube, and that's good. I mean, like, come on, guys, cost. At any rate, the core question was, why would anybody want to work for the big two? Well, the honest answer there is name recognition. It's if I work for Marvel or I work for DC, then I get to put on my resume that I work for Marvel or DC. And if I'm trying to get work in comics or, God forbid, movies or other places, those are name brands. It's a hell of a lot more, more noteworthy than an independent comic or one I self-funded, even if I make a lot more money. Being able to say I worked on Spider-Man is more powerful in theory to people than, making 4 times the amount of money. So a lot of people take that gig with the idea of I'm using Marvel. I know I'm being used by those companies because I'm being paid a substandard rate, but I'm also using them because I'm using their brand recognition, their name to make myself more successful. That's why they do it. But the math doesn't really work out. I've known a number of people now who've done I did work at Marvel and DC so I can make a name for myself, and it just ends there. And I think you've seen lots and lots of people that get all super horny about, doing their 3-issue limited series, and then you never hear from them again. Or they go off and do something that sells in like 1,000 copies. Or they do a crowdfunder that doesn't go anywhere. There's been plenty of those. So, the value of working for those big companies, it has limited value from a pure profit perspective, for sure, you are going to make low rates. But then you can certainly make it work for you. If you had a chance to work on Spider-Man, you could leverage that to do other things and get other gigs, but the work is on you. Just doing the Spider-Man book doesn't really get you very far. You have to really push and pimp and promote the fact that you were there. And if you can do that effectively, then you're a business, you can get somewhere with that. But it's not easy. And I think a lot of people view it as a free lunch, and it's definitely not that. But anyway, that's the reason. So that's why they do it. They do it for name recognition. They do it because, in their heads, they're wired to think that if they work for the big boys, it's going to help them, professionally. But there's not a lot of evidence that that's actually true. So, or at least not in any kind of sustainable way. All right, what do you guys think? Would you work for the big two? What would be your reason if you did? Let me know in the comments below, like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.